The alien. Crisis, in the distant reaches of the galaxy, the vibrant and sprawling metropolis of Zalaria thrived under the governance of a powerful and enigmatic alien council. Known for its shimmering towers and bustling spaceports, Zalaria was a symbol of advanced civilization. Its people, proud and resilient, had established a reputation for order and sophistication. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly perfect society lay a brewing crisis that would soon call for unexpected heroes. The alien girl in the heart of Zalaria, amidst the opulent halls and glittering streets, lived a young alien girl named Lyra. Lyra belonged to one of the most distinguished families in the city. Her lineage was steeped in tradition and honor, and her presence was a source of pride for her people. With her radiant blue skin and intricate bioluminescent patterns, Lyra was admired for her beauty and grace. One fateful evening, as Lyra attended a grand event hosted by her family, a rogue faction within the city seized the opportunity to strike. This faction, driven by a desire to destabilize Zalaria and seize power for themselves, orchestrated a bold and ruthless plan. In a swift and coordinated attack, they abducted Lyra, taking her to a hidden location far from the city's protective reach. The human intervention news of Lyra's abduction quickly spread across the galaxy. As the Galactic Council convened to address the crisis, the situation seemed dire. The Council's resources and influence were extensive, but the rogue faction's fortress was heavily fortified and protected by sophisticated technology. The Council's attempts to negotiate or mount a rescue were met with resistance and delay. It was in this moment of uncertainty that a group of human adventurers, known for their audacious exploits and unorthodox methods, became aware of the situation. The humans, led by Captain Jack Reynolds and his crew, were known throughout the galaxy for their daring missions and unconventional approaches. Despite their reputation for being reckless and unpredictable, they were respected for their courage and resourcefulness. Captain Reynolds, with his characteristic swagger and determination, saw an opportunity to make a difference. The humans had recently arrived in the region, drawn by their own adventures, and they quickly took an interest in the plight of the alien girl. They were motivated not only by the challenge, but also by a sense of justice and empathy. The decision to act, the crew gathered in their ship's common room, where the situation was laid out before them. Lyra's abduction had left the Galactic Council at a standstill, and it was clear that traditional methods had failed. Captain Reynolds and his team, including the tech-savvy engineer Lily, the skilled pilot Mike, and the resourceful strategist Emma, decided to step in. "All right, team," Captain Reynolds said, his voice filled with resolve. "We're not letting this stand. We're going to rescue that girl, no matter what it takes. The Council might be stuck, but we've got the skills and the drive to get this done." Lily tapped away at her terminal, analyzing the data on the rogue faction's fortress. "The security systems are top-notch, but we've dealt with tougher challenges before. We'll need a combination of stealth and firepower to pull this off." Mike, the pilot with a knack for getting out of tight spots, grinned. "I'll get us in and out of there. Just make sure the plan is solid." Emma, the strategist, nodded in agreement. "We'll need to gather intel on the fortress and find any weaknesses. We also need to anticipate their responses to our infiltration." With their plan set into motion, the human crew prepared for a daring rescue mission. They knew that the odds were against them, but their determination and unconventional approach gave them a unique advantage. The fate of Lyra and the stability of Zalaria now rested in the hands of these unlikely heroes. As they set course for the rogue faction's stronghold, the stars outside their ship seemed to shimmer with anticipation. The mission ahead would test their skills and resolve, but they were ready to face the challenge. The story of their audacious rescue was about to unfold, and the galaxy would soon witness the impact of their courageous intervention. The rescue plan. With the decision made, the human team set their sights on rescuing Lyra. As they approached the rogue faction's fortress, nestled in a remote, rugged area of Zalaria, the team knew they had to be meticulous in their planning. The fortress was renowned for its impregnable defenses and advanced security measures, but the humans were determined to succeed where others had faltered. strategizing the rescue in. The dimly lit briefing room aboard their ship, the team gathered around a holographic projection of the fortress. The fortress was a massive structure, surrounded by high walls and equipped with an array of defensive technologies. Surveillance drones patrolled the perimeter, and energy shields created a nearly impenetrable barrier. Emma, the team's strategist, began outlining their plan. "We need to approach this with precision. Our best bet is to use a combination of stealth and distraction. We'll infiltrate the outer defenses and then focus on neutralizing their internal security." Lily, the tech specialist, interfaced with the fortress's security network through a data link. "I've hacked into their surveillance system. We can create temporary blind spots in their coverage, but we need to act quickly before they notice the breach." Mike, the pilot, was already preparing the ship for a high-risk maneuver. "I'll get us in close to the fortress, and once we're in position, I'll be on standby to provide a quick getaway." Timing is crucial. Captain Reynolds, ever the confident leader, addressed his team with a determined look. "We know the risks, but we also know our strengths. We've faced tougher challenges and come out on top. Let's get this done and bring Lyra back where she belongs." Infiltrating the fortress. As the human team approached the fortress, they executed their plan with precision. The ship landed silently on a secluded landing pad near the outer walls. Using advanced stealth suits and cloaking devices, they began their infiltration. Lily, leading the technical side of the mission, deployed a series of small drones to create temporary blind spots in the fortress's surveillance system. These drones were equipped with sophisticated jamming technology designed to disrupt the fortress's sensors without leaving a trace. The team moved swiftly through the shadows, avoiding detection as they approached the outer defenses. Emma's strategic guidance ensured that they followed the safest path, while Mike's piloting skills allowed them to navigate the fortress's challenging terrain. Encountering obstacles. Their progress was not without obstacles. The fortress was heavily guarded, and the team encountered several patrols and automated defense systems. The team used a combination of non-lethal weapons and stealth tactics to neutralize threats without raising alarms. At one point, they encountered a heavily fortified checkpoint. Lily used her technical skills to override the security controls, allowing them to bypass the checkpoint and proceed further into the fortress. Despite their efforts, the fortress's defenses were formidable. As they reached the inner chambers, they faced increased resistance from both personnel and automated systems. The team's quick thinking and adaptability were put to the test as they encountered unexpected challenges. Reaching Lyra after overcoming numerous hurdles, the team finally arrived at the chamber where Lyra was being held. The room was heavily secured, with advanced locking mechanisms and energy barriers in place. Lily worked diligently to bypass the security systems, while Captain Reynolds and the rest of the team stood guard. As the final barrier was breached, the door to Lyra's cell opened. Lyra, who had been waiting anxiously, looked up with a mixture of relief and disbelief. She was a striking figure, her bioluminescent patterns glowing softly in the dim light. "Are you here to rescue me?" Lyra asked, her voice trembling with hope. Captain Reynolds stepped forward, offering a reassuring smile. "Yes, we're here to get you out. We've got a plan to get you to safety, but we need to move quickly." The escape begins. With Lyra freed, the team began their exfiltration. They retraced their steps through the fortress, encountering resistance from the rogue faction. The escape was tense, with battles and close calls as they fought their way back to the landing pad. Mike, waiting in the ship, was ready to make a swift exit. As the team arrived, they boarded the ship and prepared for takeoff. The ship's engines roared to life and they ascended rapidly, evading the fortress's defensive systems. As they left the fortress behind, the team shared a moment of relief. Lyra, though exhausted, expressed her gratitude. The mission had been successful, but the danger was far from over. The rogue faction would likely seek revenge, and the team knew that their actions had only just begun to shape the future of Zalaria. The next steps would be crucial in ensuring that Lyra's rescue led to a lasting resolution. The humans and their new ally, Lyra, were now bound together by their shared experience, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. The infiltration With Lyra safely in their custody, the human team faced the critical task of infiltrating the heart of the rogue faction's Stronghold. Their goal was to neutralize the immediate threat posed by the rogue faction and prevent any further attempts to destabilize Zalaria. As they prepared for the next phase of their mission, they knew that success depended on precise execution and the ability to adapt to unforeseen challenges. Preparing for infiltration back on their ship, the team regrouped to finalize their plan. The fortress's internal layout was complex, with multiple layers of security and high-tech defenses. Emma, the strategist, reviewed the intelligence gathered from their earlier reconnaissance. Our primary objective is to disable the command center of the rogue faction. We need to cut off their leadership and communication channels to prevent them from coordinating further attacks, Emma explained, pointing to a holographic map of the fortress. Lily, the tech specialist, nodded in agreement. I've managed to access their internal systems through the data link we established earlier. We can use this to disrupt their communication and security protocols. I'll also deploy a few more drones to help us navigate and keep track of any changes. Captain Reynolds, confident and determined, addressed the team. We know the risks, but we've faced tougher odds before. Let's move in with precision and make sure we stay ahead of their security measures. Remember, we're not just rescuing Lyra, we're preventing a galactic crisis. Entering the Stronghold, the team descended to the surface of the fortress and approached a secondary entrance, one less guarded and more discreet. Using their advanced stealth suits, they slipped past the outer defenses and made their way to the fortress's interior. The corridors were dimly lit and lined with high-tech security systems. As they moved through the facility, Lily's drones provided real-time updates on security changes and potential threats. The team navigated carefully, avoiding patrols and bypassing electronic locks with Lily's expert guidance. Overcoming security measures, their progress was interrupted when they encountered a high-security checkpoint equipped with energy barriers and biometric scanners. The checkpoint was designed to detect unauthorized access and was a significant hurdle. Lily swiftly worked to bypass the security controls, using her technical skills to hack into the system. This will take a moment. We need to keep an eye on the cameras and any incoming patrols, she warned. Meanwhile, Captain Reynolds and the rest of the team took positions, ready to respond to any signs of detection. Their vigilance paid off as Lily successfully disabled the checkpoint's security measures, allowing them to proceed deeper into the fortress. As they advanced, they encountered a series of automated turrets and motion sensor traps. The team's tactical coordination and quick reflexes allowed them to navigate these obstacles. Emma directed the team through safe routes, while Mike provided cover with precision shots to disable turrets. Reaching the command center, after overcoming various security measures and encountering sporadic resistance, the team finally reached the command center. The room was heavily fortified, with advanced security systems and a squad of guards stationed outside. Lily worked to disable the command center's security locks, while Emma prepared for the next phase. Once we're inside, we need to quickly neutralize the guards and take control of their communication systems. We can't afford any delays. As the door to the command center opened, the team entered and immediately engaged the guards in a brief but intense firefight. Their training and preparation allowed them to gain the upper hand, and the guards were swiftly subdued. With the command center under their control, Lily accessed the central computer systems. She began the process of disrupting the rogue faction's communications and command protocols. I'm injecting a virus into their network. This should cut off their ability to coordinate and respond effectively. Disrupting the faction's operations, as the virus took effect, the rogue faction's command network began to falter. The screens in the command center flickered and displayed error messages. Lily's actions effectively scrambled their communication channels, causing confusion among the faction's leaders. Captain Reynolds, surveying the situation, saw an opportunity to gather crucial intelligence. While we have the chance, let's download any relevant data about their plans and remaining forces. It could be useful for future operations. The team worked quickly to collect information on the rogue faction's activities and remaining assets. The data revealed the extent of their plans and potential locations for further sabotage. Preparing for the aftermath, with their objectives accomplished, the team prepared for their departure. They knew that their actions had set the stage for further confrontations, and that the rogue faction would not remain passive. As they exited the command center, the fortress's internal alarms began to blare, signaling a lockdown in response to the disruption. The team had to navigate through heightened security measures and escaping guards as they made their way back to their ship. The mission had been a success, but the real challenge lay ahead. The rogue faction's remaining forces would likely seek revenge, and the team needed to stay vigilant as they continued their efforts to stabilize Zalaria and protect their newfound ally, Lyra. As they departed from the fortress, the team reflected on their accomplishments and the path ahead. Their actions had disrupted a significant threat, but the fight was far from over. With Lyra safe and their mission partially complete, they prepared for the next phase of their adventure, a phase that would test their resolve and shape the future of Zalaria. The unseen threat. With the command center successfully infiltrated and the rogue faction's operations disrupted, the human team prepared to return to Zalaria's capital. Their victory, however, was tempered by a looming sense of unease. While the immediate danger had been quelled, the team was aware that their actions had likely stirred more significant forces into motion. The return to Zalaria A's. Their ship approached Zalaria's capital. The team reflected on the mission's success. Lyra, though shaken by her ordeal, expressed her gratitude. "You've done more than save me. You've given my people a chance to reclaim our peace." Captain Reynolds nodded. "We're glad we could help. But don't think this is over. There's still a lot to be done." Emma, the strategist, was already thinking ahead. "We need to ensure that the rogue faction doesn't have any more surprises in store. We should inform the Galactic Council and prepare for any potential retaliation." Lily, the tech specialist, continued monitoring the fortress's systems from her portable console. "I'm still receiving signals from the rogue faction's network. It looks like they're regrouping and preparing for a counterattack." The Council's response upon arriving at the capital, the team met with the Galactic Council to brief them on the situation. The Council members, a mix of alien species with diverse perspectives, listened intently as Captain Reynolds outlined the mission's details. "The rogue faction's command center is in disarray," Captain Reynolds reported. "We've disrupted their communication and collected data on their plans. However, they're likely regrouping and preparing a counteroffensive." Counselor Varel, a stern and authoritative figure, nodded thoughtfully. "Your actions have been invaluable. We need to take immediate steps to reinforce our defenses and prepare for any potential retaliation. The safety of Zalaria and the galaxy depends on our response." The Council's response was swift. They mobilized additional security forces and enacted measures to bolster the planet's defenses. The humans' intelligence on the rogue faction's activities was integrated into the Council's strategy, enhancing their preparedness for any future threats. The rogue faction's counterattack. Despite the Council's efforts, the rogue faction was far from defeated. The faction's leaders, angered by the disruption of their plans, had regrouped and initiated a retaliatory campaign. Their goal was to reclaim their lost position and exact revenge on those who had thwarted their schemes. The rogue faction launched a series of coordinated attacks on key infrastructure throughout Zalaria. These attacks were designed to create chaos and undermine the Council's authority. The city's defenses were put to the test as explosions and skirmishes erupted across various sectors. A new alliance. In the midst of the chaos, the human team realized that their mission had evolved into a broader conflict. They needed to collaborate closely with the Galactic Council and the people of Zalaria to combat the rogue faction effectively. Captain Reynolds and his team worked alongside Zalarian forces, using their unique skills and knowledge to counter the attacks. Lyra, leveraging her connections and influence, played a crucial role in rallying her people and coordinating their resistance efforts. The combined efforts of the humans and Zalarians began to turn the tide. The rogue faction's attacks were met with increasing resistance, and their ability to cause widespread disruption was diminished. Uncovering the true motive, as the team delved deeper into the rogue faction's operations, they uncovered a more insidious motive behind their actions. The faction's leaders were not merely seeking power, but were driven by a deep-seated vendetta against the Galactic Council and certain species within the galaxy. Emma, analyzing the intelligence gathered from the command center, discovered documents revealing a broader conspiracy. It looks like the rogue faction is part of a larger network of dissidents with a long-standing grudge against the Council. They're not just trying to destabilize Zalaria, they're aiming to ignite a larger conflict. Planning the final assault. With this new understanding, the team and the Council prepared for a decisive action. They needed to launch a final assault on the rogue faction's remaining strongholds and eliminate the threat once and for all. The plan was to strike at the heart of the rogue faction's operations, targeting their remaining leadership and key facilities. The mission would require careful coordination and the full commitment of all allied forces. Captain Reynolds and his team, along with Zalarian troops, readied themselves for the critical operation. The stakes were high, but their resolve was unshakable. The future of Zalaria and the stability of the galaxy rested on their success. Preparing for the clash as the final assault approached, tensions ran high. The team reviewed their strategy, ensuring that every detail was in place. They knew that the coming battle would be intense, and that the outcome would determine the fate of Zalaria and the galaxy. The human team, now fully integrated with their Zalarian allies, prepared for what would be the ultimate test of their skills and determination. The clash with the rogue faction would be a pivotal moment in their adventure, a moment that would define their legacy and shape the future of intergalactic relations. The final assault, with their plan in place and the countdown to the final assault underway, the human team and their Zalarian allies prepared for the decisive battle against the rogue faction. The stakes were higher than ever, and the outcome of this confrontation would determine the future of Zalaria and the stability of the galaxy. The strategic overview in the war room of Zalaria's capital, the team gathered to finalize their strategy. The room was filled with holographic displays, maps of the rogue faction's strongholds, and real-time data from their intelligence network. Emma, the strategist, outlined the plan. Our goal is to neutralize the rogue faction's leadership and key facilities. We'll divide our forces into two main groups. One will focus on the central stronghold, while the other will handle the remaining outposts and supply lines. Captain Reynolds nodded in agreement. We need to strike hard and fast. The rogue faction will be expecting a coordinated attack, so we'll use diversion tactics to create opportunities for our main forces to penetrate their defenses. Lily, the tech specialist, reviewed the latest updates on the faction's defenses. I've managed to breach their communications again. We'll have a brief window where their internal coordination will be disrupted. We need to make the most of it. The assault begins as night fell over Zalaria. The assault began. The Allied forces, consisting of human and Zalarian troops, launched their attack with precision and coordination. The first wave targeted the rogue faction's outer defenses, creating chaos and drawing attention away from the main assault force. Captain Reynolds led the charge towards the central stronghold, navigating through intense firefights and heavily fortified positions. The human team used their advanced technology and tactical expertise to breach the stronghold's outer layers. Simultaneously, the second group focused on the rogue faction's outposts and supply lines. They employed hit-and-run tactics to disrupt the faction's logistical support and prevent them from regrouping effectively. Breach and engagement. The central stronghold was a fortress of steel and energy shields with multiple layers of defense. The human team, using their knowledge from earlier missions, exploited weaknesses in the stronghold's defenses. They launched a coordinated assault, targeting key access points and disabling security systems. Inside the stronghold, the team encountered fierce resistance. The rogue faction's elite guards and automated defenses proved to be formidable adversaries. The battle was intense, with close-quarters combat and strategic maneuvers as the team fought their way towards the central command center. Emma's strategic guidance was crucial in navigating the stronghold's labyrinthine corridors and overcoming obstacles. Lily provided technical support, hacking into systems and creating temporary disruptions to give the team an edge. The confrontation, as the team reached the central command center, they faced the rogue faction's leadership. The room was filled with high-ranking officials, their faces a mix of anger and defiance. Counselor Varel, who had joined the team for this critical phase, addressed the faction's leaders. Your plans to destabilize Zalaria and ignite conflict across the galaxy end here. Surrender now, and we can end this without further bloodshed. The rogue faction's leader, a towering figure with a scarred visage, sneered at Varel. You may have breached our defenses, but you will never defeat our will. We will fight to the end. A fierce battle erupted in the command center. The human team, with their advanced weaponry and combat skills, clashed with the faction's leaders and their elite guards. The fight was intense, with both sides pushing their limits, turning the tide. During the battle, the Allied forces outside successfully neutralized the remaining outposts and supply lines. The disruption caused by their efforts had a significant impact on the rogue faction's ability to coordinate and respond effectively. With their forces in disarray, the rogue faction's resistance began to crumble. The human team, led by Captain Reynolds and Emma, pressed their advantage and pushed through the command center's defenses. In a decisive moment, Captain Reynolds faced the rogue faction's leader in a final showdown. The confrontation was brutal, but Reynolds' skill and determination won out. The rogue leader was subdued, and the command center was secured. The aftermath, with the central stronghold under control and the rogue faction's leadership defeated, the remaining faction members were quickly dealt with. The battle had been hard fought, but the outcome marked a significant victory for the Allied forces. The Galactic Council, having witnessed the bravery and effectiveness of the human team and their Zalarian allies, praised their efforts. Your decisive actions have saved Zalaria and prevented a galactic crisis. The galaxy owes you a great debt. Lyra, who had been actively involved in rallying her people and supporting the Allied forces, expressed her gratitude. Thank you for everything. Your bravery and commitment have brought hope to my people and restored peace to our world. A new beginning, with the immediate threat neutralized, the focus shifted to rebuilding and strengthening the alliance between humans and Zalarians. The joint efforts of the human team and their Zalarian counterparts had forged a bond of trust and cooperation. Captain Reynolds and his team, having completed their mission, prepared to return to their own world. They had faced immense challenges and emerged victorious, leaving behind a legacy of bravery and unity. As they departed from Zalaria, the team looked back at the planet they had helped save. The future was uncertain, but the lessons learned and the alliances formed would pave the way for a brighter and more secure galaxy. Their adventure had not only tested their skills and resolve, but had also shown the strength that comes from working together in the face of adversity. The story of their mission would be remembered as a testament to the power of courage and cooperation in the vast expanse of space.